All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, February the 19th, 2025, and I hope you're having a beautiful morning. For some reason on my paper here, I had written 2023, which was weird. Like, I went backward. Anyway, so good morning, everybody. This morning we are going to be in the Psalms. We're going to be in Psalms 49 and 139. Just a reminder, during the week here, we are in our Torah portions, which will be back in tomorrow. We're in Mishpatim, which means judgments or rulings, ordinances, and we started in that yesterday. And so we have, the readings are Exodus 21:1 through 24:18, and the Haftarah portions in Jeremiah, you can see on the screen. They're going to be in the slides. They were in the slides at the beginning and at the end. So just a reminder, be sure to hit like and subscribe and share, and I hope that the daily bites are a blessing, and I encourage you to please share those, repost those on your social media, send those to friends and to people that you're trying to minister to via text message, or just as the Lord leads, to be able to continue to share God's love and His Word with others. So today we're going to be in Psalms 49 and Psalm 139. The title of today's Daily Manna is What Money Can't Buy and What Death Can't Take. What money cannot buy and what death cannot take. We live in a world in which everything seems to be for sale. Everything has a price tag. If you've got enough money, you can buy comfort, influence, security, sense of security, at least, best medical care. And a lot of people, they spend their lives in pursuit of wealth, believing that is the key to shalom. That's the key to peace. That's the key to, that's going to protect them, and it'll make them untouchable. But today, as we look at Psalms 49 and 39, we're going to see that the one thing money cannot buy, and this is really what Psalm 49 is going to center on, and the thing that death can't take happens to be the thing that matters the most, and it's your atonement, your covering, is the peace that comes from that, your redemption. Psalm 49 puts it plainly in Psalm 49 verses 8 and 9. It says, "No man can redeem his brother or give to God a kippur, a covering for him. For the redemption of a soul is costly. So one should stop trying forever." So no amount of wealth, no status, no power can buy your atonement, can buy the covering from your sin. Only Yeshua. The price is too high for any human, just for imperfect humans to pay, but Yeshua has paid the price. So we're going to look at Psalm 49, which is a powerful psalm. Both of these are. Psalm 139 has got to be, for many people, one of their favorites. When people list their favorite psalms, Psalm 139 undoubtedly comes to mind. But we'll start with 49. It says, "Shema, hear this, all you peoples. Give ear, all you inhabitants of the world." The word for world there is chaled, which can mean of a lifetime. All of you dwellers of a lifetime. Basically, he's saying, if you're alive, you should listen to this. No matter what you think your status is. Verse 3 says both, here it's translated both low and high. It says both B'nai Adam, Gam Ish, B'nai Ish, which means the children of Adam, the children of humanity, and then B'nai Ish is the children of men, but in this context, it means those who are, who think they're something special. They're the children of particular people, maybe children that have you're born into a name, into wealth or whatever. So whatever, if you're just a regular old person, or you're someone who's a child of a particular man, together, all of you need to hear this, rich and poor together. I don't care how you classify yourself. This, you need to shema this. Verse 5, "My mouth speaks wisdom. The reflection or the meditation of my heart is understanding. I will turn my ear to a proverb. I will utter my riddle on the harp. So this is going to be a proverb. This is going to be a parable, as it were. The word for proverb has to do with something that is like something else. This is a full of comparisons. And so he says, I'm going to utter my riddle, which has to do, I'm going to answer some hard questions. And the opening question is this: why should I fear in days of calamity and evil days, when the iniquity of my deceivers surrounds me? In evil days, why should I fear? And the question really has to do with what's our perspective, right? So the singer of Psalm 49 is coming with wisdom, and so the opening question is with a parable, because when days are wicked, people are afraid. He says, why should I fear when iniquity of my deceiver surrounds me? Verse 7, or those trusting in their wealth. And the word for wealth there's chayil, which can be wealth. It can also be power, in their might. When there are mighty ones, they are called, men of chayil, men of power or of wealth, of valor. And so it's of those trusting in those who are putting their confidence in their own strength, in their own power, in their own wealth. Boasting, they praise their great riches. He says, why should I fear? Because no matter how great they are, no matter how rich they are, that brings us back to verse 8, which we read to open, no man can redeem his brother. No relative can ransom his brother. And he cannot give to God a kippur, a covering, his atonement. Right? So you're not able to redeem your brother. So it doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how much you think you have. Right? God doesn't need your money. The wealth of this world is not what he values. What he values is the condition of our heart. What he values is something that's more eternal than that. Continues verse 9, for the redemption of a soul is costly. It uses the word it's highly valuable. It's precious. It uses the word precious as in precious gems. They're hard to come. So the redemption of souls is something that's very, more precious than diamonds, right? So one should stop, and it says, so one should stop trying forever. Will he live forever and never see the grave or never see the pit? Verse 11. Certainly, surely, because he must see that even wise men die. The fool and the brutish will alike perish. Right? So he's got to see that the wise die, that the fool and the senseless one die. So the wise die in the same way that the foolish die, all leaving their chayil, their valor, their wealth, whatever's strong to them, leaving it to others. So the wise die with the fools. They both die. And like animals, they're destroyed. They abandon their wealth and their power to the future. Now, verse 12 says, their inner thought is this. The thought in their innermost place is this. They think their houses are eternal. Their dwellings for generation after generation. They name their lands after themselves. Right? You see this in human history. People so intent on making a name for themselves. valuing this idea that, well, at least someday when I'm gone, that if people know me, if I was famous, if they continue to know me, if my name is on something, if I go down in history, well, then I've accomplished something. It's meaningless. Anything apart from accomplishing something that is pleasing to the Lord, while we may know the names of famous people through history, they don't get to enjoy the fruits of that. The imagination that somehow they get to enjoy their name going on to be while they're separated from God. It says, their inward thought is their houses are eternal, their dwellings for generation after generation. They name their lands after themselves. It says, but the pompous man, or the man who thinks he's of great value, will not endure. And it's not going to last the night, it says. Because he is like, it uses this word, this is the word for a parable. He is like the beasts that perish. Right? So the guy who you don't have access to, who's too important, too big, too rich, who has it all, and he thinks the world revolves around him. Right? Because of his condition relative to the Lord, he is like the beasts that perish. All of this will mean nothing. Verse 14, this is the path, such is the way of the self-confident, of the fool, it said, the fool to himself, the one who is confident in himself. Not just of his way, such is the way of the self-confident and their followers who approve their sayings, who just mouth what they say, who give favor to the things that they say. People worship, practically, they worship other people. They worship people who are famous. They worship people who are rich. I want to be like that, and they're like, and they pursue all of that. He says, I'm going to give you some wisdom here. All of that is worthless. Verse 15, like sheep, they are destined for Sheol, for the grave, for the underworld. Death will be their shepherd, and the upright will rule over them in the morning. Right? There's a day that's coming when the ones ruling will be those who walk the way of the Lord, those who walk in uprightness, right? So the question is, to the riddle that's posed at the beginning, why should I fear? Why should I fear when the wicked prosper? Why should I fear when we're surrounded by iniquity? Why should that rattle me? It rattles me if my perspective is rooted in and bound in the moment, is bound in this present reality, if is bound in a circumstance that isn't centered on the Lord. Right? It says the death will be their shepherd, and the upright will rule over them in the morning. Their image will decay in Sheol, far from its lofty place. Their big name, I mean, there are so many people throughout history whose names we have no idea of. They were big shots in their time. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He says, but, verse 16, but surely God redeems my soul from the power of Sheol, for he receives me. Right? So here the Lord is No one can buy your covering. You can't, with all their money and all their power and all their influence, they cannot buy a soul. They cannot redeem their soul. They cannot ransom their soul. They can't purchase their own atonement. It says, but God redeems my soul from the power of the grave, of Sheol, for he receives me. Verse 17, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid when a man gets rich, when his house's splendor increases. For when he dies, he takes nothing away. His splendor will not follow him down, right? It's like in the ancient Egyptians and their pyramids and the pharaohs, and they would get buried with all their stuff. It's an illusion. Though during his life he congratulates himself, and men praise you when you do well for yourself, he'll still join his father's company, who will never see the light. A pompous man, without understanding, is like the beasts that perish. All right, so that perspective should shape what we value or what we don't value in this world. Psalm 139 then sets our focus on, who do I want to please? Who do I want to live for? I want to live for the Lord. This Psalm of David opens with, Adonai, you searched me. You've explored me. You've spied me out. You've researched me, and you know me. Whenever I sit down or stand up, you know it. And the opening line of verse 2 here is you. Ata yadati. You know it when I sit. You know my sitting. You know my standing. You discern. You understand. You perceive my thinking from a distance. You know my thoughts. You observe my journeying and my resting. And you are familiar with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, Adonai, you know all of it. You know all about it, or you know it completely. You see me from a distance. You search me. You know me. You know when I'm sitting. You know when I'm standing. You know what I'm thinking from a distance. You see me on my path when you see me when I'm resting. You're familiar with all of my ways, right? You know all about it before it's on my tongue, before the word is on my tongue. You hemmed me in behind and before and laid your hand upon me. It says, wonderful, wonderful, marvelous, extraordinary, miraculous is such knowledge for me. It's inaccessibly high for me to even begin to grasp it. It's too lofty for me to wrap my mind around. Where can I go from your Ruach, from your Spirit? Where can I flee from your face, from your eyes, from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. And if I make my bed in Sheol, here it says, look, behold, you are there too. Literally, it just says, and if I make my bed in Sheol, you behold, you see it, right? It doesn't escape your view. You see me. I can't escape your face. I can't escape your spirit. I can't hide from you. No matter how deep I try to go away, no matter where you see. If I take the wings of the dawn and settle on the other side of the sea, even there your hand will lead me, and your right hand will lay hold of me. If I declare, surely darkness covers me, night keeps light at a distance from me. It's too dark. Certainly he can't see me now. Certainly he doesn't know what's going on in me. It's too dark. My world is too dark. Everything in me, it's just too dark. I've escaped his notice. He says, even for you, darkness isn't dark. Even darkness is not dark for you, and night is as bright as day. Darkness and light are alike. Darkness is like the light. It says you can see in every circumstance, in every situation. It says for you, because you, ki ata, you have created my inmost being, my conscience, or it's my kidneys, the seat of my emotions, the seat of my joy and my grief. You created it. You knit me together, or you sheltered me. You overshadowed me in my mother's womb. Odcha, he says, I acknowledge you, I praise you, I thank you, for I am awesomely, wonderfully made. I'm a miracle, is what he says. I am a wonder. I'm a wonderful creation. I'm a miraculous creation. All of your works are wonderful, he says. Wonderful, extraordinary, miraculous are the things that you do, and my soul knows that very well. My frame or my body, my skin, my bones were not hidden from you when I was made in a secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw me when I was unformed. And in your book were written the days that were formed, when not one of them had come to be. How precious, how valuable are your thoughts, O God. How great is the sum of them. So this is the thing. What's precious? What's valuable? The question is, what are his thoughts? What does he say about you? Not what the pompous man says about you. Not what the mighty of this world think of you. They'll dismiss us as insignificant. We don't matter. They don't care. And that's okay. The Lord cares. How precious are your thoughts, O Lord? No matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm going through, you see me, O Lord, and that's what matters. Your thoughts, what you think, how you measure it all out, that's what matters, Lord. How great is the sum of your thoughts. Verse 18, were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. And when I awake, I am still with you. So he's going through all of this, and he's setting his eyes on the Lord. No matter what's going on, I live in a dark world. There's so much around me, but your thoughts toward me. No matter where if I go to the far end of the world, you're with me. You see me. If I go to the deepest depths, you can see me. If I think I'm shielded by dark, it's like light to you. You can see. And yet, in the midst of all that, now we come to this kind of shocking few verses in verse 19, which take us back into the reality of the world that the psalmist is in. He says, if only you would slay the wicked, or you would slay wickedness, O God. Away from me, you bloody men, or you men of blood, you bloodthirsty men. For they speak about you, he's speaking to the Lord, with wicked intent. Your enemies reproach you in vain. They insult you, Lord. Verse 21, he says, don't I hate those who hate you, Adonai? Do I not loathe those who rise against you? Right? So this verse here, these verses are not rooted in as much personal animosity or desire for revenge, but these are him lining up with the Lord. Right? These people are against you, Lord. They're against your way. And how does that play out when people are in opposition to God? Right? And God is for justice and righteousness. And as even yesterday going through the Torah portion, looking at how there is such compassion and rightness in his instructions. And so when there are those that are in opposition to righteousness, he says, I am in opposition to them. The word hate in Hebrew can, of course, refer to an emotion and animosity, but it's often, it can also mean, when it's in the context of a relationship, it can allude to a lack of relationship, where hating doesn't connote a negative emotion as much as of a lack of relationship. So that through the misuse of God's name and how they've twisted his name, they've lifted his name in emptiness, right? So these haters against God have brought such destruction. And so the psalmist lines himself up with the Lord. He's like, if they are against you, I'm against them. If they hate you, then I hate them. Okay, so that's where he's at. But I will not be in relationship with them. I will not walk with them. I will not line myself up with them. It doesn't. So he continues. He says, I hate them with total hatred, to the limit. He says, I consider them my enemies. And then he says this: search me, O God. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Examine me. This is the word examine here is bachan, which is like a metal tester, is one who looks closely. One who looks with the magnifying glass. And know my anxious thoughts. Know the edges of me, the branches of me that are vulnerable, he says. And see if there is any offensive way within me. See if there is within me a path of pain, that I'm causing pain. I want you to search me. I want you to know me. I want you to search me in the deepest part of me and lead me in the way everlasting. Search me, O God, and know my heart. This morning's daily bite is, beginning in Psalm 19. And the last verse of that psalm, of Psalm 19, says, let the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, search me and know me. I want my words to be pleasing to you. I want my heart to be pleasing to you. I want my thoughts to be pleasing to you. So I'm lining up with you, but after he lays these things out, I'm against those who are against you. He lays himself out before the Lord and says, search me and know me. You know me. You see me. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. So I can have this conversation with you. And so as we come to the end of that, the recognition is this, is that in him, what his thoughts toward us are priceless. They're incalculable. And they are what matter. So as we look at a world that's everything's for sale, and why are we freaked out when wickedness prevails? Set your mind on him. Set your eyes on him. Why should you fear? Because there's a day that's coming, right, when those who walk upright will be with him, exalted. And we don't look forward to, it's not about being exalted, it's that his ways lead to righteousness. And so you can't buy that peace, you can't buy that atonement, but he paid for it. He bought it for all who would call on him, who would submit to him, and who would trust in his ways and find life and life everlasting. Amen? All right, well, let me just say a quick hello to everybody. Good morning to Steve and to Kathleen and to Jerry and Janet. Good morning to Barbara Callahan and to Pastor and Sister Martinez and to Pat and Lori and to Ron and Amy and Sonia and Margarita and Pastor and Sister Martinez. Did I already say that? And Eileen, good morning. All right, and let's see. All right, well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.